Well, I hear this question all the time. Ryan, I'm trying to find an investment property in the Austin area. I'm running spreadsheets and I can't make anything pencil. What do I do? Well, today I'm going to go over 5 strategies that are working in this market in 2026 that you could consider implementing today. The first 2 strategies can be done by a primary homeowner. You don't have to buy this as an investor. You can wear an investor hat, go buy yourself a primary residence, and do these 2 strategies. The first one that I love is house hacking a duplex. What does that mean? That means you're going to go buy and live in a duplex as your primary residence. You're going to live on one side. And now you're going to have a second unit that you can do any strategy you want. You can do a long-term rental, have a tenant over there. You could do a mid-term rental, a short-term rental. You could close up to the garage and do rent by the room. There's so many things you can do. So one question I hear is, well, why not just do that with a quadplex then if that has more units? Here's why I like duplexes better. A quadplex, yes, it's going to come with, 3 rentable units versus 1 because you're living in one of those units. However, quadplexes tend to attract lower income, more apartment-based tenants. It's not going to have a backyard, most likely. It's not going to have covered parking or a garage. So it lives like an apartment. And do you want to live in an apartment? Odds are you don't. A duplex is going to have a garage or a carport. It's going to have a private backyard. It may have an extra bedroom. So duplexes make great properties, not only to live in, but to now have your first rental unit. And in addition, there's 10 times as many duplexes as there are quadplexes in our market. So strategy number 1, house hacking a duplex. Strategy number 2, you could do it in a duplex, but I love it. And I think the market timing is what makes 2026 make this strategy really great. And it is a live-in flip. So what is a live-in flip? So when you flip a house traditionally, you got to go borrow expensive money or have lots of cash. You go buy that distressed house. You got to fix it up real nice, real fast, and try to sell it because you got to make a profit before that pain of that money eats up your profits. The challenge with that is it's really hard to do market timing. Things in Austin are moving slow right now. The reason a live-in flip works great is you're going to live in this property. It's your primary residence. You're going to take at least 2 years to live in that property. Got to get 2 full years under your belt, but you can renovate that property while you live there, improve its value. And 2 years from now, when you go to sell that property as a primary residence, you're getting capital gains tax-free as a single person up to $250,000 tax-free, or if you're a married couple, up to $500,000 of gains tax-free. That is a huge amount of gains. Odds are you might not even have that many gains, but the timing is what makes this strategy so great. Right now in 2026, Austin has been in correction mode since peak COVID of May 2022. We've seen prices come down about 25%. We're seeing that Austin is probably starting to stabilize, and definitely by next year, we're going to see that turn the corner. So if you can live there for 2 years, you might be buying your property near the market bottom. You're going to improve its value. So when you go to sell it, not only is it worth more money, but the market might be back to giving you some tailwinds of appreciation. So live and flip, I think, is a great strategy number 2. All right, well, you don't want to live in the property. You're just an investor. You want to buy something that can try to cash flow in 2026. And I want to be in the Austin area. I don't want to be way out in the boondocks. Here's 2 strategies that can work in the city or in our core major suburbs. The first one, rent by the room. This strategy works great. Here's how it works. You're looking for a property, most likely not in an HOA. It needs to have at least 4 bedrooms. And more importantly, can you convert some other space in that property, maybe into bedroom number 5 or 6? This is going to be co-living. It attracts several demographics that are moving to Austin. They don't want to rent an apartment by themselves. That might cost them $1,500 or $2,000 if they're living in a fancy Class A 1 or 2 bedroom apartment. They want to pay $600 or $800 or $1,000. They want to rent a room and live with other folks. Well, they're going to live in one of these co-living houses. Think of it as like a really tiny dorm house. So if you can get 4, 5, 6 bedrooms, maybe that normal house on one lease to a family, maybe it would only make $2,000 a month or maybe $2,400 a month to rent that house. Well, if you're renting by the room, well, maybe the master bedroom is $1,200. Maybe the guest bedrooms are $800 or $600. So all of a sudden you start adding that up. Well, instead of getting $2,000 or $2,400, well, maybe you're getting $3,500 or $4,000 a month because you've chosen to rent by the room. And there are now companies like PadSplit who can take some of the heavy lifting off your shoulders. They can actually help advertise this property. They can be a consultant to you and they can help get it leased up for you. So there are opportunities to run rent by the room. This is becoming popular with younger clients, and it allows you to buy a nice property and give you lots of opportunities of where to look in the market to find the right 4 or 5 bedroom home. All right. Last strategy for the city is I love midterm rentals. All right. So what is a midterm rental? Many of you know what it is. You can go buy a single family house. You could buy a duplex as well. And instead of a long-term rent, an empty house, you're just going to lease it out for 12 months on a long-term lease. A midterm rental is essentially you're going after corporate folks, traveling nurses, digital nomads, people that need a furnished place to live. It's stocked. The kitchen has the silverware and the plates, but they will pay a much higher amount of rent because everything's included. It's kind of like a hotel room, but it's a long-term stay. They're going to stay at least 30 days or longer. They're usually on month-to-month leases, or they might sign a 3-month, a 6-month, a 9-month lease with you, but they'll pay 50% or more than what they would for a long-term rent. So they're looking for a place they can drop their luggage and start living. The internet's included, the utilities are included. The other reason I like midterm rentals is, yes, you can do short-term rentals in Austin, and we have several clients doing it. But short-term rentals, to me, are a more advanced strategy, especially in today's marketplace. Austin requires a licensing program. That can be expensive. You have much more turnover. So unless you're really seasoned or you understand the exact type of property that's unique, high value to a traveler, it's more risky to do a short-term rental. Midterm rental, you don't need a license. This is just a traditional longer-term rental. You can put it on a traditional lease. You can put it in the MLS. And yet, it's kind of training wheels towards a short-term rental. You're going to furnish it. You're going to design it. And you have some flexibility with how you treat the rents. So I really like midterm rental as another strategy. All right, Ryan, I get it. Those are all interesting. But man, I don't want to do any of those. I want a long-term rental. I want to put 25% down. I want to put a regular long-term tenant in there and call it a day. I'm just putting something in my portfolio. All right, we can absolutely do that in 2026. The question is where. This strategy has become very challenging if you want to be in the city limits of Austin or even in one of the Austin suburbs. So where do you go? Well, where we're 2026 with our clients is 2 locations. Number 1, we're going to Bell County. Where's Bell County? This is about an hour north of Austin. It's not a suburb, yet it's close enough that there's a lot of transition from Austin to this area. And on top of that, a lot of manufacturing and medical companies are up there, and it gives them an easy pipeline on I-35 to Dallas and Austin. So the cities in Bell County that we're looking at are Temple, Belton, and Killeen. If you look on a map, these cities have usually about 100,000 in Killeen, maybe 100,000 in Temple and Belton each. You put them together, it's about 250,000 is their metro area. So a lot of jobs up there. More importantly, you can find single family homes in the mid 2s. You can find duplexes in the 300,000 range. And with the right negotiations, you can actually get these to cash flow on day one. Really love Bell County. The second market's a little farther away is College Station. So College Station is the home to Texas A&M University. Bryan College Station probably has, again, over 200,000 people there. You have a huge student population, one of the largest universities in the country in Texas A&M. So there's a lot of industry and action that's always going to be moving there, also because of the education and student base. So College Station, another great market if you're looking for a long-term rental in 2026. There you have it. There's 5 strategies you can do right now in 2026 to take action, start investing, look for cash flow. The real question is, which one is right for you?